Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 20-Minute Cooking School. I am Claire Tansey. This is Claire Tansey's kitchen. It is a little dark in here today. Apologize for that. There are a couple of very nice guys downstairs building me a closet in my basement, which is also wonderful. So if you hear some like banging and drilling or see some handsome dudes walking through, they are not my new children. Although I wish they were, because it would really be handy to have a handy person in the house, wouldn't it? So speaking of handy, it doesn't get handier in the kitchen than being able to roast a chicken. So today we are roasting a chicken. Obviously it's not going to be ready in 20 minutes, but all the prep and all the chit chat and all the blather is all going to be done in 20 minutes. So here's my chicken. We're going to roast it. I said this in my book that it's like the sign of an accomplished cook is roast chicken. Can you roast a chicken? And yet I know so many people who are like, oh God, I've never roasted a chicken. That seems like way too much work. I'd never get it right. I'd screw up somehow. So if you have questions or you have worries or about what would go wrong for you in a roast chicken, or if you've never roasted one before and you're like reluctant, what is it that makes you reluctant? You tell me, what are your questions? I will try to address a bunch of them. Or maybe you've roasted a chicken before and it's gone all wrong. It's hard to believe, but it might have happened. Listen, I'll tell you what though, it all starts with the chicken, and this particular little beauty, you can see is wrapped in butcher paper. I get it from my local Italian store, which is I'm putting that way because it's literally that way. Like there's an apartment building in the way, but if it wasn't there, I could probably walk into their front door from my back door, really close. And I've said this about a lot of meat before, that easily 85% of the work of making meat delicious happens before you even buy the meat. So that means that whatever the person, the farm who has raised and then butchered and then dressed and all, whatever has happened to that animal before it gets into this shape is going to have a lot more influence on how the meat actually turns out than almost anything that you do. Now, you can screw it up really easily by like, I don't know, putting this in an oven that's too hot and burning the outside and not getting the inside cooked and all those silly things. But it's not really too complicated once you have a good chicken. So hello everybody, yay, a chicken. Roast chicken is such a wonderful dish. And I used to think it was only for Sunday roast, but it's actually such an easy dinner on a weeknight as well, because you kind of set it and forget it. So rule number one, try to get a good chicken. And that means, yes, you may have to go to the butcher, or you may have to go to, like a smaller store. Go somewhere where there's actually a butcher, like a person, as opposed to just like rows and rows of meat that's all been wrapped up. Actually, the worst thing you can do is buy a chicken that's wrapped up in plastic wrap. So, like it usually comes on that little styrofoam tray and it's wrapped up in plastic. That kind of suffocates the poor little critter. And it makes the skin really wet. And it means that the skin is never going to get very golden. And it also just sort of suffocates it. Like it doesn't have any nice air, nice kind of, I don't know, guys. I don't know what the science is, but I can tell you that when you buy a chicken that has not been all wrapped up and is already looks, oh, look at him. Hello. Oh, hello. Hi. Here he is. Chickens always seem to be male for me. Even though is that not right? How does that work? Does anybody know about chicken gendering? So the other thing about when you actually go to buy the chicken, and this is no matter where you buy it, don't buy one that's too big. Like 3 pounds is perfect. 3.5 pounds, okay. 5 pounds, too big. A small chicken got so much more flavor and it's so much easier to cook evenly. That's the real secret. You may remember that when we were doing turkey, I was talking about that you don't really want a turkey that's bigger than 15 pounds because by the time you get like bigger than that, the kind of ratio is off. Like by the time the breast is going to be cooked, the legs aren't going to be cooked, and it's really hard to get it right. So the same thing with the chicken, and it seems to me that the magical number is about between 3 and 3.5 pounds. So I don't know how much this weighs. Shall we find out? Let us go get the scale. In the meantime, I'll tell you that the oven is on at 400 degrees. 400 degrees. Let's find out. How much do you weigh, mister? Dun, 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 dun. Any guesses? I guess 3 and 3.3. No. Wait, hang on. Start again. And 3.3. What do I win? I win the chicken. So 3.3. Lovely little guy. Oven's on at 400. And there are kind of two ways that I like to roast chicken. One is either on like a baking sheet like this, and I would put a rack on top of it. Then you get a lot more air circulation around the top and bottom. Go ahead. See ya. There goes my doors, my new doors. Maybe my old doors, I don't know. What I'm gonna do today, this Marcus, by the way, is I'm gonna roast it in my favorite cast iron pan. Nice and heavy, nice deep sides, and then once the chicken comes out, I can just make a nice little pan sauce right there in the pan. I'm just gonna take my, when it gets really cold, your rings just sort of start to slide around on your fingers. Clearly I have to start eating more. That's the answer. Hi everybody, let's just see, are bigger chickens older? Mike Tansey, are bigger chickens older? You have stumped me on that. I really like that question. Maybe smaller chickens are younger. Anyone out there know the answer to that? Do you have to order ahead of time at Vincenzo's? They normally have in stock. They get them on Wednesday afternoons. So if you definitely want to have one, go in on a Wednesday or give them a call and they'll hold one for you. They're just ordinary like Ontario chickens, but they're terrific. They're really delicious. My other favorite place in Toronto is the meat department on Danforth near Broadview. This is so awesome. Well, thanks, Brenda. Hi, Sue Dreger, Yum Roast Chicken. Truly awesome weeknight meal. So our friend here didn't come all like, sometimes you buy a chicken and it's all he's all dressed up, like tied up, and you're like, man, I just want to be free. I just want to dance. I just want to dance and be free. I'll just never forget that Friends episode where she put the turkey on her head. So if your chicken did come all trussed up and twined up, take it off. Just take it off. It does not want it. Let your chicken be free. It's an old French thing, trussing a chicken. And the truth is that if you just let him relax, like he's taking a little sun bath, the air is going to circulate a lot more evenly. The air is going to circulate into the cavity of the bird that's there. And actually it's going to cook a lot more evenly. So let him roam free. This kind of chicken doesn't come with any little surprises on the inside, so you don't have to worry about that. And what I am going to do is I'm going to actually bend these wing tips back. No, you know what? I'm not. They're too good. Michael really likes to eat the wing tips. He'll just crunch right through them. That may be one step too far for me, but I'll save them for Michael. And of course, Thomas loves the wings as well. So this, out of the package, and I'm just gonna put it right in the cast iron frying pan. So he's kind of like, dude, you're sort of like, he's just sticking his legs up at me, so I want him to fit in the pan. The other thing about a chicken is you really just don't worry. Just do not worry. It's going to be fine. And I'll talk in a minute about what to do if you get it out of the oven and you find it's overcooked or undercooked. We'll talk about that in a minute. Why are you so stiff? This chicken's hips are stiffer than mine. And I do exercises every day. Okay, I think that's fine. I think you're fine. So there are a lot of things I could say about this chicken right now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wash my hands like a good girl and talk a little bit about what to do next. So I already mentioned the oven is on at 400 degrees, and I'm going to start it there. And the chicken I'm doing today is actually going to be just chicken. So I have, you know what, maybe, I don't know, I have this thyme, this pack of fresh thyme in my fridge, which I'm pretty sure I bought before Christmas. Still seems to be okay. I mean, there's a couple of sludgy bits in there, but it still seems okay. So I might shove some of that inside, but you really don't need anything. You don't need anything. When you have a good chicken, it doesn't need anything. You can, by all means, like goose it up, flavor it up. with anything from any green herb, a lemon, garlic, onion, all good. But I thought, like, let's just do it super simple, right? Look at this guy. Hello. Hello. So what to do next? Well, all you need is a little bit of oil. So what I'm going to do is, because the skin is nice and dry, remember how I mentioned that when you buy a chicken that's wrapped in cling film or saran wrap, it gets really wet, and that's what prevents the skin from getting dry? Two solutions to that. One, you either take all your paper towels and you like dry, like you're drying a kid out of the bath who's got eczema. Or you take this whole chicken, get it out of the wrapping, untie the twine, put it either like on a baking pan or a pan like this, uncovered, in the fridge overnight. And what will happen is it will actually naturally dry out. And that's a great way to improve a supermarket chicken just like that, except that it takes 24 hours. You know what I mean? No effort on your part. So all I need to do to this guy is get some salt and a little bit of oil on him. So I'm just going to use canola. There goes Marcus, back downstairs. Today's star, guest star. Take a little bit of my my little neutral canola oil here. You could use olive oil, you could use melted butter, but like I said, this is an uncomplicated chicken. It's just going to be straight up, and all the oil is going to do is, because it's got a nice dry skin, it's going to give the salt something to stick to, and it's also going to help the skin to just get that little extra bit crispy. Now, what time is it? 4:12. This is a 20-minute cooking school. We are just about done. Silicone's brush, pastry brush, really good for things like this because it can go in the dishwasher. No good for pastry. Sorry, not good for phyllo or that kind of stuff. That's a different class though. Right into the dishwasher. All right, this little beauty's been oiled up, and then just needs salt. So I'm going to use kosher salt. You can use table salt, whichever one you use. Remember, we're going to make it snow. Can you see how high up? And just like in every single other episode of the 20-minute cooking school, I'm going to encourage you to use a lot of salt. The salt is only going to be on the skin. It's not going to permeate into the meat, and it's going to make it really yummy, and it's also going to help with that, drawing the moisture out and getting that bird nice and crispy. Make sure to get it right into the armpits. These are going to be the best wings you ever did have. I sometimes joke that I wish chickens came with 3 wings, because I want one, Michael wants one, and Thomas wants one. Although Thomas is really more of a drumstick kind of guy. So don't forget the undersides of the drums and thighs, and then right in there in that little like spot in there in the kind of like, I don't know, that spot in between the drumstick and the rest of the body. And like I said, this really doesn't need anything, but since I'm honestly just trying to use up this time, because it's been here since Christmas, I'm pretty sure I got it for the chicken liver pate that I made on like December the 23rd, maybe the December the 21st. You can take a little mittful of it. Works great with parsley, tarragon, sage, chives. I don't like oregano, but thyme is, of course, a classic. I'm going to shove that baby in there. That's it. Guess who's ready to go in the oven now? Not me. Oh, it is a little chilly today. So, now this guy just goes in the oven. I could totally complicate it, but why would I? I don't even put pepper on it because the small dictator in our house, the 5-year-old, doesn't like pepper, and if there are black flecks on something, I mean, heaven forfend. Okay, so Freddy the chicken here is going in 400 degrees. After about 20 minutes, I'm going to lower the temperature to 350. Hang on. So, to put your mind at ease about how do you know when it is cooked? Oh, why are you worried, Selena? Don't be worried. So, to put you at ease, how do you know when the chicken is cooked? Because that is another, I know, huge concern. You're like, it's going to be raw. I'm going to kill my entire family. So, first of all, know this. You're not going to kill the entire family. If you have somebody who is immune compromised, like a really old person with pneumonia or a newborn, you may not want to serve them pink chicken. Anybody else, they might get a tummy ache, worse thing, they may barf. Is that really the end of the world? Not in my books. But you're not going to get there, because what's going to happen is this. 20 minutes at 400. Then I'm going to reduce the heat to 350 and leave it in there for about 40 minutes or so. It should look nice and golden. And yes, you can most definitely get yourself your InstaRead thermometer. That's actually not an InstaRead, but it's kind of close. This is an InstaRead digital. You shove that baby into the thickest part of the thigh. So you actually lift up the leg and shove it kind of underneath the thigh. It's super fleshy, and it's kind of the densest part of the chicken. 175 is the number you're looking for. You're going to take that chicken out of the oven after about an hour-ish, hour and 5 or so, and then you're going to let it rest. And this is like the secret of all secrets, the rest. You know how everything's better after you have a nap? You should have a little nap, you wake up, you're like, oh my God, I feel alive again. Well, it's the same with chicken, except it doesn't get alive again. Resting a roast of any kind, whether it's roast beef, roast pork, in our case roast chicken, it's like butter on toast. It allows all those hot juices to redistribute, really go into the meat, really make the meat super, super juicy. It also allows the residual heat that is in the bones and carcass of the meat and the pan to just keep cooking that little extra bit. If it's still a little bit undercooked, to keep cooking without overcooking everything else. And at the same time, so much nice liquid is going to drizzle out of the chicken and start forming this gorgeous pan sauce. So you let it rest. And I mean, you don't let it rest just for 5 minutes. You let it rest for 15, 20. You can let it rest for an hour even. It's going to get a little bit cooler, but it's not going to get cold. And you can always reheat it in the pan if you want to. So rest, 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 rest. You never put the thermometer in the right place, Erin. I hope that's just on chickens and not on your children. Anyways, different story, different story. So what happens then if you start carving into your chicken and you see pink? Okay, so 1, pink isn't necessarily undercooked chicken. How much time have I got left to tell you more stories about chicken? 2 minutes. Pink isn't necessarily undercooked chicken. There is something called myoglobin, which accumulates especially near joints in birds. I am making this up. No, I'm not. I know a lot about this. Anyway, it's the reason why dark meat is darker, and it's the reason why around joints of animals, there's a lot more kind of blood flow, but it's not really blood, it's myoglobin. And so the meat is always going to be pink. Yes, that's right. The meat is always going to be pink. Even if it was cooked into oblivion and beyond, it would always have just that little bit of pinkness to it. It's not blood, it's myoglobin. So you can calm down with that as well. You can just relax about that. That said, if you carve into the bird and you're like, oh crap, this isn't just like pink, this is actually like uncooked chicken, no problem. Remember my cast iron pan? You just cut your chicken into like 8 pieces, or 4 pieces. You take the legs off at the thigh. Right, where it meets the bird, and then you can take the breast off, put it all back in the cast iron frying pan, put it either back in the oven or put it on the stove top and cook it for another 5 minutes, and it'll just cook through. So with all those things in mind, you should be able to get a perfect, beautiful roast chicken every single time. And I am telling you, this is such a game changer for weeknight dinners, especially if you have a carnivore in the house who really loves meat, like I do. Thomas is just like, he'd turn down carbohydrates, but he'll eat meat any day of the week. Not entirely true. We've talked about the mashed potato issues before. So that is it with roast chicken. So this is in the oven. It's going to be in the oven for about another hour and change, about another 50 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and take it out of the oven when it's ready to come out. So you can tune back in for that, but if you have any questions in the meantime, just fire them at me. And remember that a roast chicken is not complicated, and you can do it, and I believe in you. And even if you fuck it up the first time, you can always put it back in the pan. Ooh, I shouldn't have sworn. Shouldn't have sweared. Lovely to see you guys here. I don't know what's up for next week. I can't remember. It may be kale, it may be guacamole. To be determined. And in the meantime, happy cooking. Thanks for coming into Claire Tansey's Kitchen for the 20-minute cooking school. I'll see you soon.